Hi there, listeners from all over the world. Thanks for catching another of my short but hopefully useful lessons. Also, be sure to check out my updated webpage for all the content and services I'm now offering. So let's get started with the lesson. In this short lesson, we will take a look at some useful phrases to express frequency that can be used instead of occasionally. You probably know that the word occasionally expresses frequency of an action or event. I occasionally travel by bus. Now, occasionally means not very often, and it is less frequent than sometimes. Occasionally could just be a few times a year. The word occasionally is a frequency adverb. All frequency adverbs are normally positioned between the sentence subject and the verb. For example, I occasionally go to the cinema. He occasionally drives long distances. She occasionally sees her grandparents. If we include an auxiliary verb or modal verb in the sentence or sentence clause, we position the frequency adverb after it. For example, I am occasionally late for work due to traffic problems. Here we include the auxiliary verb be, which in this case is I am. And another example. When I have questions, she can occasionally help me. So here we're using the modal verb can. On this podcast and on my YouTube channel, you will find more lessons available for modal verbs. Now, the positioning I just mentioned is the same for all frequency adverbs. So that could be always, sometimes, usually, often, never, etc. Okay, so between the subject and the verb, or after the auxiliary verb, modal verb, before the main verb. Of course, as you already know and you've probably discovered, English has many rules, but it also has a lot of exceptions. Now, instead of using a frequency adverb, we can use expressions of frequency. And if we do this, the position in the sentence changes. So, speaking of expressions of frequency, here are some good ones to replace the word occasionally, but keeping the same meaning. Now, you may want to pause after each one to take notes. Here we go. Once in a while. Every so often. From time to time. Now and again. At times. On occasion. Now, all these expressions are placed at the beginning or the end of a sentence or sentence clause. For example, once in a while, I like to eat curry. Or, I like to eat curry once in a while. At times, I find learning grammar difficult. Or, I find learning grammar difficult at times. Do not say, I find at times learning grammar difficult. Okay, that is not the correct position. So, all the alternative expressions I mentioned can be used instead of occasionally, but put them at the beginning or the end of the sentence or the clause. Which position is best? Well, it can be a matter of personal preference or simply where you are placing emphasis. If you feel the frequency is important to emphasize, then put it at the beginning. Well, that's it for the lesson, but join me for another, either coming soon or from the existing playlist. Don't forget to check out my website, and I'll catch you in another lesson. Have a great day. Cheers.